Any funny, like, kind of like how George told any funny, odd stories that over your years have happened in stores and it stands out like, I can't believe this happened. Or you're never going to believe what happened, you know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, a lot of things happen in here. A lot of them are funny later. A lot of them are funny when they happen. I think my favorite was years ago. We had a shop bird, and this shop bird was a double yellowhead Amazon, quite a large bird. And as it turned out, he only liked men. In fact, particularly blonde men. He'd do anything for a blonde man, but he hated women. I got a special stand for this bird so that he could sit out and enjoy the shop. I thought it'd be great for the bird. Well, didn't realize that that was not necessarily a good thing. One day, this real tall, thin man comes in, and he comes in with this real heavy-set woman in a sack dress. And he's talking to me about aquariums, and she spots the bird. So she goes over to the bird stand, and she's talking to the bird. She's about 6 feet away. And so I warned her. I said, ma'am, just be careful because he doesn't like women very much. So I keep talking to the man about his aquarium, and she starts getting closer and closer to the bird stand. So I warned her again. I said, ma'am, be very careful because he might bite you. He doesn't like women. She kept getting closer and closer. Next thing I know, she's bending over right in the bird's face. A second later, before I could say anything, this bird leaps off of the stand right onto her face, grabs her nose with his feet, and is trying to bite the top of her head. She screams. All I see is this woman in this big green sack dress with her arms out, spinning back and forth. Ah! Ah! With this big green bird on her face. I don't know what to do. All I'm thinking is, oh my God, lawsuit, lawsuit, oh God. Her husband steps over in a flash, whap! Knocks the bird right off of her face. I grab the bird, I put it back on the stand, I cover it with the cage, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm ready to apologize profusely. The man looks at her and says, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? He told you twice a bird doesn't like women. What do you think you're doing? All I remember is, I see in my mind, is this big, huge woman. I'm telling you, she must have been 300 pounds. Oh!
When I watch that, I'm going to be dying. That'd be great. So, Larry, last thing, what about your personality? How would your friends describe your personality? How would George describe your personality?
See, how would George describe my personality? George would say that I am easygoing,
yes,
very trusting, to the point of being too trusting, incredibly honest,
avoids confrontation.
Avoids confrontation at almost all costs, and works too much.
Needs to play more. Needs to play more.
Needs to play more.
How did you and George meet?
Oh, George and I met. George was a customer. I'd had the shop for many years, and George worked for the city of Dunedin in the recreational department, and he worked with kids. And he had, oh my God, I don't know how many animals he's had over the years. I think at that time he had an aquarium and a water dragon, veiled chameleon, a basilisk, a bunch of different animals. And he was in here at least once a week, twice a week, buying supplies. And we just sort of got to be friends after a while. Well, something happened at the city, and he was unhappy about, and he didn't want to continue to work there. He wanted to move on. And we had developed a friendship where we started going to lunch about once a week, every other week. And he came in one day and said, let's go to lunch. So we went next door to the Chinese restaurant, sat down, and George told me what was going on with the city and said that he was thinking about leaving the city. And so I asked him, well, what are you going to do? And he said, well, I've been thinking about it, and I think that I'd like to work for Pet Safari. I said, what? He said, yeah. He says, I'd like to come work for Pet Safari. He says, you know, I think we have very different personalities. And he says, I know your strengths and your weaknesses, and you know mine, and I think we'd make a good team, and I'd like to come work for Pet Safari and see what we can do with it. I said, well, there's no way I could afford to pay you what you're getting. He said, I didn't say anything about money. He said, what did you pay your last manager? And I told him. He said, well, I'm going to turn in my 2 weeks' notice today. And that's how it went.
And it's been like superb ever since.
not that we never have any issues.
Well, that's great, Larry. Thank you so much. That was perfect. Is there anyone else there at the shop today that I can...
Absolutely. I can get you Crystal. I can get you Tony.
Perfect. Okay, great. Yeah, either one of them.
So, Karen, what brought you into the line of work you're in?
What was that?
What brought you into the line of work that you're in?